It seems like when most gamers think of Silent Hill, the first game that comes to mind is Silent Hill 2, and I think most would agree that it's the best in the series. It was creepy, atmospheric, and above all else, it was a very interesting game. I always interpreted this story as being the look inside the mind of someone that's gone crazy in a very abstract way, and everything that's going on is just inside their head. But the most memorable thing about this game would have to be the villain himself, Pyramid Head. The game is truly a PS2 classic. But sadly, the Silent Hills that would follow would become less memorable, and eventually it seemed like people would become less interested in the series itself. So I decided to take a look at the latest game in the series, Silent Hill Downpour. I saw that the reviews of it were mixed and mostly negative, so I was kinda curious of why that was. I haven't beaten the game yet, so this is more of my impression on what I've seen so far. The game opens with our main character Murphy, who's in prison and is about to be transferred to another facility. The bus that's taking him there crashes, and he survives, so he tries to find his way to safety. He soon finds out that there's more to this place than he realizes. One thing I really liked about this game were the scripted events, like when you first enter the other world and have to run for your life, or in another part where you're on a roller coaster. I felt like I was experiencing the world of Silent Hill in a very brand new way. But events like these are quickly overshadowed by very long, drawn-out navigation sections. There are many times in the game where you're moving from one area to the next with really nothing happening at all. And on top of that, I found myself getting stuck at times because I wasn't able to find a specific item, and it really broke the flow of the game. Like in one part, I came across an elevator, but I couldn't use it because I didn't have the ID card, so I had to go running around just to find an item that I had missed earlier. Silent Hill 2 had similar puzzle solving, but here it just feels a little overkill and sometimes just a little bit unnecessary. Silent Hill is known for having excellent sound design, and that is no exception here. The game is brought to life through sounds of leaky pipes and also sounds of distant voices. It adds a lot to the atmosphere, and I really like that. The game borrows a lot from older Silent Hills, but I think one thing it should have addressed was the combat. Yet again, it comes off as being very sluggish and just feels really unpolished. You'll mostly be beating your enemies to death with blunt objects, which can get boring after a while, so you'll probably start avoiding combat as much as possible. It's also hard to get into the main character because he seems very withdrawn and he really doesn't talk all that much. The side characters are also very minimal and don't even really have anything meaningful to say, nor do they really want anything to do with you.
Leave me alone, goddammit!
The monsters in the game made me jump a few times at first, but I quickly got used to them. Personally, I think the scariest part of the game was how long it took me to find where to go sometimes. So for me, the game is mixed. For the stuff that's good, it's really good, and it starts to feel like a whole new Silent Hill experience. But for the stuff that's bad, it can start to get boring and feel very tedious to play. I mean, not all the puzzles in this game are bad, but some of them really damper the flow of the game. I would have liked to have seen a seamless experience through Silent Hill that also had an engaging storyline that kept me interested all the way through. The best example I could think of would be the game Alan Wake. The game wasn't gory, but it has a lot of similarities to Silent Hill. It's a horror game with a psychological story with light puzzling and a pace that always seems to be moving. It definitely brought a lot of new interesting ideas to the genre. I think the problem here is they focus too much on making this game like the old Silent Hills and less on being its own experience. Some things worked and other things just ended up feeling a bit dated. But if you're a big fan of Silent Hill, there's definitely something here that you will enjoy. In the meantime, I'll continue to wait for that new breakthrough Silent Hill experience. With that said, I'm the Masked Game Reviewer, and I'll see you guys next time.